One Piece. Great segue. We are on One Piece, chapter 1143, Holy Knights. It's been 2 weeks since we talked about One Piece because it's been on break. We got a color page this time around based on a reader request. Straw Hat Crew car chase. There are no cars involved, of course. They're using the flying fish from the Flying Fish Raiders, I believe, specifically. And that will be our substitute of cars.
Excuse me?
You don't know the Flying Fish Raiders? You'll find out when you...
Is that from Alabasta?
No. It's ahead of where you are. So... anyway, One Piece. Last we left off with One Piece, the children have suddenly fallen asleep. The children of Elbaf have suddenly fallen asleep and started walking in a direction guided by one of Gunko's arrows. One of the teacher giants was beaten up, it seemed, injured somehow, and we don't know why, but on top of that, there seems to be a massive invasion of the kids' worst nightmares attacking Elbaf. And we don't know how that happened yet, but everybody's very confused. Saul opens this chapter by running after the kids who are just making a beeline down the beach, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. Robin warns him not to touch the children because the other teacher warned them that if they touched them, it would be not good. And Saul is just like, well, I know he told us to, but I don't see nothing wrong with them, and it's dangerous for them to keep walking like this. Oh boy, I gotta sneeze. Okay, no, sneeze is gone. Don't you hate when that happens?
Actually, the worst.
Yeah, literally, it's so fucking embarrassing, you know. But anyway, as Saul is trying to wake one of the kids up, he is suddenly pierced by these invisible thorns that seem to be all around the children, and he gets all stabbed up. It's not good, and Saul is on the ground writhing in pain because he just got stabbed up by a bunch of thorns. The giant derp.
Like, why would he do that? They literally just told him not to.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the Western Village, where Dory Broggy and the other Straw Hats are, they're getting a transmission from the transponder Pillbug, which is the Elbaf version of the transponder snails that only work in Elbaf. This is their mode of communication. They are getting a transmission about what's going on. There's sudden danger. It's not good. They hear about the fire going on in Branch 8. And the giants are concerned because a lot of their children go to the school. So they immediately spring to action. There's a firefighting corps in Elbaf that immediately goes and rushes over to help. But they get swatted out of the air by one of the kids' nightmares. All the giants are surprised. They're like, what? They don't even know what that shit is. It kind of looks like Brooke.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought for a second.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we cut over to the Holy Knights, who are enjoying a meal in the midst of all of this. They have a whole table set up and some food, and Saint Summers is laughing. He's going, yeah! He's like, you see how shocked those giants were by those giants, by those thorns? And he's going on about how, like, it's really cool to kill people while they're feeling love. He's saying that love is the passion to reach out and squeeze someone tight, even as you see the thorns up close. And the best part is when this is a game when it's parents and children, because they hug their kids all tight, and then they get to see their mommy and daddy in agony from getting hit with the thorns. Fucking asshole.
Yeah, Jesus, man.
And we realize here that
Saint Summers?
Yeah, Saint Summers is the wielder of the thorn fruit, and obviously is the guy responsible for having the kids surrounded by the invisible thorns.
He is a thorn man.
The Thorn Man.
Thorn Man.
Thorn Man. And we then talk about how Gunko really explains what the hell's going on out there.
Sorry, guys. What me?
What the hell? It's okay. It's not your fault. I'm just like, what the fuck? All I hear is a beep, beep, beep.
It sounds like he's the same car too.
It is. It must be the same car.
What is he so mad about?
I need to know. I'm so curious.
You know what it is? It's a car that's probably double parked,
Oh yeah.
and he can't get out.
Sheesh.
He's still good.
So of course the solution is to beep infinitely.
That's why we need super strength.
Yeah. To just move people's cars out of the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, Gunko explains the path that she's having the children take from the Owl Library over to the port where they're at. And yeah, they'll reach the village's sea clouds if they walk straight. And one of the other holy knights, I think his name is Killingham. He looks over to Summers and is like, "Summers, I need a bit more salt." And Summers goes, "Salt?" And then he starts thinking of salt. And then I guess Killingham starts using his powers to put Summers to sleep and then manifest out of his dreams salt. So obviously this is the guy who is in charge of the nightmares coming to life. He is Saint Killingham, dragon fruit, mythical type, Kirin. So he's the Kirin dragon that is a dream manifesting dragon, or him personally is a dream manifesting man. So that's pretty sick. He could just take whatever he needs by making you think about it, go to sleep, and then grab it out of the air. That's cool. And Killingham asks, oh, not Killingham, Summers asks about what about the sleep tids that you pulled out of those Brat's dreams? And he basically says that, like, hey, I could keep them going at the same time. There's no big deal. And he adds salt to their meals. And Gunko actually shows some delight in eating the food, which is very interesting and lends some credence to a fan theory, I think, coming up in One Piece. So I'll explain it later. Brian, you probably know what it is.
How do you assume I don't know what it is?
Do you know what it is, Josh?
Yep.
What is it?
Involving who?
Gunko.
What's that theory?
I'm asking you, what is the theory surrounding Gunko?
That she
He is in deep thought for audio listeners.
You know, I don't have to fucking tell you guys.
Oh, okay.
I don't have to. I don't have to.
You
I'm
don't
not
got nothing to
forced
prove.
to tell you guys my thoughts. All right.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's at it again, baby.
He's at it again.
We back at it again. He took a quick intermission. Bathroom
stop.
break.
No, I think Josh had his son mute at that time. But anyway, Gunko is delighted to eat the new seasoned food. And basically, they keep talking about how, like, all they really got to do is take one of those and return to the Holy Land. And Summers is like, we've basically won already. It's too easy. This is a baby game for babies. And Gunko has eaten her fill, and she's like, this is all 0 calories. And Killingham's like, yep, it's dream food, so 0 energy too. You don't really get anything out of it besides, I guess, the taste, which is interesting. So you're not really eating anything physical. You're just kind of tasting for the sake of it, which, to be honest, is pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, so Gunko explains that there will be trouble because she mentions that Luffy is here. I guess she didn't really explain it to the others yet that Luffy is here. And they notice that the kids are walking straight towards the fire, and Gunko's like, see, you didn't expect this. Not to worry. If they die, we can send more. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, in the underworld, Loki is going crazy. He's crashing out right now. He already struck Elbaf once with the Ragnir hammer, and he's threatening to do it again. So, he's threatening to do it again unless Luffy and the others undo the last cuff that's on him. And, Sanji is just catching up because he just got there. He's like, who is this anyway? And Luffy explains that he's just a guy that was really injured and Luffy wanted to help. He's like, Loki yells that, or you all choose death, I'll only keep taking the lives of those weaklings in the Sun World. And Hajuden is like, all right, wait. Zoro warns Hajuden not to get suckered in, and Luffy decides to take up responsibility and take down Loki. So he's going in. Loki picks up the Ragnir, and Zoro warns Luffy to go easy on him or his wounds will get worse. And Luffy basically, I guess, gives him a love tap with Gear 3. And Loki is in such bad shape that that's enough to topple him to the ground. And yeah, basically Loki is out cold. Zoro is surprised to learn that Loki was at death's door already, so he really was gone, and he was basically bluffing at this point. Zoro is like, well, it's up to you whether to heal him or to let him die. And Luffy is like, no, actually, I had business with Loki too, but I had to wait to see how bloody he was. I forget this guy's name. I know it starts with an R. I want to say Rodo. He thinks to himself that it is true. Whoever attempted to kill Loki is a separate incident from his own crimes, and I think I may know who it was. But Luffy asks Hajuden to help him out because he doesn't want to let him die, no matter who he is. And Gerd explains that it'll probably take months until he can fully recover. And if you really want to see him recover, then you shouldn't leave him in a place like this. But if he's taken to the villagers, it'll only lead for more calls to his execution. So, it's a bit of a rock and a hard place. And Luffy is sitting on one of Loki's horns that poke out of his helmet. And it turns out that these horns are attached to Loki. Luffy comments on them. He's like, whoa, I guess these horns turned out to be real. And they explain that, of course, Loki is descended from ancient giant, just like Harold was. And Hajuden starts to have a little bit of a memory of Hajuden and Loki growing up, and Harold explaining that he loves them both and that he wants them to work together to support Elbaf after he's gone. We see that Loki used to beat up Hajuden when he was young. And Hajuden's the older brother, it seems. And he is like, I can't believe this tiny weakling is supposed to be my big brother. He's like, you're just a bastard. Man, Game of Thrones much? He's like, you're not father's legitimate son. Hear that, Hajuden? Your mother had filthy blood in her veins. Damn. And Hajuden, understandably, picks up the axe and is about to just behead Loki. Everybody's like trying to hold Hajuden back. And he's like, I'll never forgive him for what he did. He insulted my mother and he killed my father. And Loki tells him to go on, do it, you sad little berserker. He said, instead of indulging in your personal petty dramas, take a look at the woods around us. They all say I went and killed Dad with pure murder in my heart, but you don't really believe that, do you? And that's where the chapter ends. Oh my God, Josh, what did you think about One Piece chapter 1143?
Well, bear with me because this guy is still trying to get out of this fucking spot. Probably. But I mean, I think this was pretty obvious as far as Loki not really killing his dad, and it be something deeper than that. We've seen that the world government already has a way to infiltrate the castle at the very least, if not, Elbaf in its entirety. So they've been compromised. The thing is, does Shanks know that? you know, I don't know. It looks like Shanks just was there to kind of help and put Loki down, but he doesn't seem like the type of guy to not listen to reason. Maybe he didn't want to get caught up in the politics. Maybe the Giants, maybe he arrived, while that situation like was unfolding or had already unfolded and just took the side of majority of the Giants and took their word for it that Loki was bad. I think that makes sense. Man, it was sad seeing Harjuden. He was like supposed to be the big brother, but he was, he didn't have that ancient blood in him. It's sad. He was an inferior giant.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. But I guess in combat prowess or combat potential, yeah. That's why Loki's so big. Okay, he didn't eat the giant model Zeus fruit or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like these past like maybe 2 or 3 chapters have been more of like build up. There's a lot. I'm having fun like learning about the new Royal Knights, especially this Dream Dragon guy. We were pretty much spot on about him having something to do with like dreams and shit. I don't know if he did something before, but him being able to manifest the salt right out of somebody's dream was hilarious. Did he force him to go to sleep?
Yeah.
The dragon?
Yeah.
He knocked him out?
Yeah, I think he has the ability to get people to sleep and then pull their dreams out.
Yeah, that's a tough guy to fight. That's a really tough guy to fight. I bet Brooke would turn him into Dragon Sushi.
That would be cool.
What's this theory about? Tell me what this... What's her name? Funko? Funko. Gunko.
Gunko is theorized to be a clone of Kuma's girl. I forget her name. Ginny.
Of Kuma's girlfriend?
Yeah, Ginny. That she's theorized to be a clone of her. I think it's probably
Which would be...
Oh, I think it's probably more likely that she's actually her daughter. Because she did get married to a celestial dragon. So it's possible that they would have had children. And I wouldn't be surprised if Gunko is like a child of Ginny. Which would make her Bonnie's sister. And or the clone of Bonnie's mom.
That's pretty... Is it because they look similar?
Yeah, that was the case, is that she does look similar, but I think that also her enjoyment of food, but despite being like a pretty cold person otherwise, is very much like Ginny and very much like Bonnie. Like the way she lit up when she added the salt to the meal.
Yeah.
It's very like kind of... It's not in character for her, and I feel like because that's like a trait that she shares with Ginny and Bonnie. And that they both really like food. So, she's either a clone of Ginny. Everybody seems to default to clones. I think it's more maybe a daughter situation. I don't think that... Although there are clones in this universe, I don't think that like every person that is similar to another person is a clone. It's a fairly new technology. I would say maybe more of daughter, but clone is a possibility, I suppose. I don't know, but anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking up some images of Ginny and the way she just to like get refreshed. And I think that could totally be the case. I mean, they do still have Bonnie with them, and it's not like she's a clear-cut member of the Straw Hat crew. So there's still more story to tell. I hope they bring Kuma back. He deserves it.
They just might. I mean, they
Yeah.
said that they have the ability to do so. Lily did.
That's promising. Well, yeah, I like the theory, and I like these Royal Knights. I think having a power of thorns is kind of corny at this point, but obviously it's gonna be godly. It's he's gonna have such a mastery of these vines. I mean, he can make them invisible.
Hmm.
Like, why? He just can. You gotta love One Piece. That's all I got to say. Oh, Loki, Loki was talking all that shit.
Yeah, Loki
Just
was
from
going
the drop.
crazy.
Oh man, he was going crazy. Oh, and I guess that guy got out the parking spot. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
He made it.
Brian, what were your thoughts?
I don't have too many thoughts aside from an observation between Hydrogen and Loki. I'm
Nice.
starting to realize that they have literally just swapped them around. You know what I mean? They made Loki into Thor, and they made Thor into Loki, essentially, with Hydrogen.
That's interesting. That's a good point, Brian.
Like Loki is in One Piece, Loki is the fucking promised son. He has a hammer that strikes with lightning. He's the physical specimen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's the full blood child.
Mhm.
Unless he's lying.
No, that seems to be the case. Everybody seems to know Hydrogen, and Hydrogen himself seems to acknowledge that that's the truth.
Yeah, exactly. So like that means Hydrogen is the one, because Loki in like literally every other depiction of him is the half-blood between the two.
No, you're right. I think that's a good observation. It's not an exact 1-to-1, but I think you have something there where Loki is kind of he's considered the pure blood, and Loki is in like traditional mythology kind of like a bastard, the least favored. But there's something here to that. I think that's true. I think it's an interesting reversal.
Yeah, I wonder why Oda is choosing to tell the story this way. Which honestly, I'm not complaining. It's nice to see a fresh take on something like this, especially with Norse mythology, which always typically plays out the same way.
Mhm.
Loki, the bad guy, the mischief, the liar, not very strong, and you got Giga Chad Thor coming in to save the day all the time.
Yeah, I mean, but we do have that dynamic. We do have that dynamic, as the familial relation is reversed. So Loki is still kind of known as a charlatan, but Hadruden is kind of like the half breed, but still kind of not the half breed, the unpure blooded one, I guess.
But I can't be the only one that still cannot trust anything Loki says. Like I still can't. I'm not
still think
buying
he's not the
into
good guy?
anything. Yeah, I feel like there's still something going on just because of his name, right? Like just having his name be what it is, it automatically makes you feel like you cannot trust what he's saying, or you can't buy into anything about him right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's by design. I think Oda does this he did this on purpose. Like he makes him seem like he's this big, super strong, super powerful guy, and then he names him Loki. And then you're like, okay, bro, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna believe this? Or is this gonna be some like, am I gonna be fooled at some point?
Yeah. No, that's a cool. I mean, obviously, I'm sure Oda knew what he was doing by putting the connotation of Loki in our heads. That he is expecting us. It is kind of like a perfect misdirection in a sense, where we're not entirely sure if we can believe him because we know what traditionally Loki is and what he stands for. But that's what makes it perfect for subversion, you know?
Yeah, and it keeps you guessing literally every time he's on screen or every time you hear something about him.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps you going like, is that really true though? Is this really Loki?
Yeah, I'm still in the camp that Loki's a good guy, and I do think that he doesn't exactly deny that he killed his dad, but there is pure murder in his heart. I think that's what he specified, is that they all say I went and killed dad with pure murder in my heart. So I think he's not necessarily denying that he killed him, but he's probably going to make the case that he killed him for good reason. And the reason I think is that he was probably going to sell out the giants of the world government by becoming a holy knight or joining the world government in any shape or form.
Oh, whatever he did, shit's going down on this fucking island.
Oh yeah.
But those are my thoughts.
This was my really good chapter of the week.
Ooh, yeah,
Oh.
I'll RGC it too.
No? Okay. 2 RGCs. One for me, one for Brian.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
I'll add one more for Brian.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
I will say one more thing though before we move on.
Yeah.
God damn it, do I love Zoro and Luffy being like, a duo. It's just so nice. You don't get to see it very often, but just having them be together for like a long time and interacting with each other, it's just so good. I love their fucking dynamic so much. It's easily my favorite thing whenever it comes around.
Yeah. I love this chapter mostly because of the latter half involving Loki in them. I thought that was very fun. It was cool to get to know the Holy Knights a little bit more and get to know their powers, and that was super cool. But I really liked this last half, and I'm excited to see where it leads. On Zoro and Luffy's dynamic, I do feel like it's a little different this time around. Zoro's a lot more commandeering, I feel, in this particular section. Like, usually he is the voice of reason, and he does try to speak up and try to be kind of like an advisor to Luffy, but I feel he's very insistent lately. And he is very much putting himself out there a little more than he used to.
Well, if you think about it, these two haven't really been around each other like this for this long in a very long time. Like, when was the last time that Zoro and Luffy were rolling around together for like a lot of the arc?
Not really. Not in a long time like this, but I feel like this is definitely. I feel like something changed in Zoro after Wano and Egghead, and I think he is trying to take not trying to take the charge from Luffy, but just trying to have Luffy exercise with more caution. He's very not trusting of Loki, and for obvious reasons. I don't think it's unfounded, but Zoro doesn't usually try to like. How do I put this? I guess like try to take charge as much as he used to, because he's basically telling him like, hey, you could do whatever you want with Loki, despite Luffy clearly wanting to help him, and he's going to step aside and let whatever happen, whatever Luffy wants, but he's really like this whole arc been trying to, I guess, put his foot forward and keeping Luffy away from this situation for whatever reason. Which is particularly strange. It's a very subtle character thing that's going on here, and I don't think he's being domineering or trying to take any charge from Luffy. But I do think there is something going on within Zoro. There's like an internal, not struggle, but something's going on in that head of his.
I think it'd be, how do I put it? They've been through a lot, and not talking about like a lot like in the series, but recently. I mean, they didn't win in that situation on Egghead because they defeated their enemies. They got the fuck up out of there because shit was getting hot. You know what I mean? And I think Zolo understands that just the stakes that they're dealing with now is on another level. Maybe he's a lot more sensitive to that and understands that, like,
Mm-hmm.
he has to tighten things up a little bit more because Luffy's not going to. And
Yeah.
they've all accepted that. If anything, Zolo be like the mouthpiece for the rest of the crew,
Mm-hmm.
on how they feel as far as Luffy's antics go. It's really rare when someone else agrees with Luffy when it comes to the more outlandish shit he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And Zolo's one of the few people that could really kind of check him. And it doesn't have, I don't think it's like about, someone could beat the other person. I think it's just, that's his second crewmate. And also, Oda made a big deal of introducing Scappa Gabon, who, was a legendary crewmate to Roger. So I think I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis put on, there's always emphasis put on the crewmates because, this is One Piece we're talking about. But I can definitely see something forming there with Zolo too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've noticed that as well. But I've been enjoying it. I haven't looked at it. I think I agree with you. I don't think it has anything to do with them bumping heads and challenging each other. I don't think it's gonna go that way at
No,
all.
neither
I think
do
this is like a character growth moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Luffy would. I think Luffy would just realize that, like, if Zolo or any of his crewmates were really going hard to the point that they would want to fight him, he would stop,
Mm-hmm.
and just listen to them. I think that's how much he's developed. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be like a big conflict where like Zoro will have to fight Luffy or something. But I'm interested, especially since the Copper is bringing up the idea that like he used to have to try to check Roger all the time when they were young. And Zoro trying to put himself in that position where he's trying to put Luffy in a better mindset or more mindful place where he can look out. He cannot just blindly run into situations. Because Egghead nearly got them all killed because he agreed to get Vegapunk off the island. Like, they very nearly didn't make it, and for real this time, because they had the strongest people in the verse on their tail. So, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's very interesting. And obviously, the dynamic between Loki and Hydrogen is really cool. Loki's very cool as a character. I'm very excited to see the Elbaf flashback because it's so strange. Like, it's such a strange dynamic in this island. We don't know much about the king yet, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. Everything we've known about the King Harold seems to be that he's like a good person. And, he was trying to leave behind a reputation of violence that giants had. But I feel like that might be a reversal of what the ancient giants really were. Maybe he has a misconception of what they used to be and has tried too much to assimilate to the world we know now. And maybe that could be his beef with Loki and all them. I do think that the giants have beef with the world government because they tend to be the oldest people in the verse. And if there are people who know how fucking slimy the government is, it's probably people who live hundreds and hundreds of years. So.
Hundreds.
Yeah. Like, their king is the oldest person on Earth. So. I don't know. But.
Oh, yeah, like 300 years.
Yeah. So if anybody knows, some of them probably, they probably don't know the Void Century, but there was a time that some of them probably knew what happened before they died out. But anyway, that's all I got to say about One Piece. It's so good. I'm so glad that it's not on break next week.